Good morning, this is Kris Shoemaker, also known as Yehudah ben Shomeyr, and you're listening to Coffee with Kris, the time of the day where we share a cup of coffee and share a bit of the Word of God. I'm so glad you joined me this morning for a hot cup of joe. Now, today is Tuesday, the third Sidra, the third Aliyah in our Torah portion of Noach, and it's taken from Genesis chapter 7, verses 17 through 24. Now, I'm sure that we've heard that Brooklyn accent, and I'm probably not the best at it, so, no critics, please. But, you heard somebody say, hey, look, I rearrange'a your face, right? I rearrange'a your face. That's exactly what God did with the face of the earth. He rearranged the face of the earth. So, in Genesis chapter 7, beginning with verse 17, it says, the flood was 40 days upon the land, and the waters increased and lifted the ark, so that it rose above the land. The waters overpowered and became very mighty over the land, and the ark drifted on the surface of the water. There was no navigational instruments, no sails, no rudders. They were just at the mercy of the waters, and God is the one who guided the ark, right? So it says in verse 19, the waters completely overpowered the land so that all the high mountains beneath the entire sky were covered. And the waters rose 15 cubits higher as the mountains were covered. All flesh perished, those that crawled on the land, the flying creatures, the livestock, the wild animals, all creatures that swarm upon the land, and all humankind, everything that had the breath of the spirit of life in its nostrils, everything on dry land died. So he wiped out all existence that was upon the surface of the ground. Everything from people to livestock to crawling creatures and to flying creatures of the sky, they were wiped off the land. Only Noah and those with him in the ark survived. The waters overpowered the land for 150 days. Now, the water came very quickly. The water came from underneath and from above. You had the landmass, the continents that broke up into the continents that they are today, and water gushed from the bottom of the ground, creating flash floods, mudslides, cataclysms. Not only that, but you had water coming from above. It had never rained till that point. Just the water irrigation system from under the ground would with the tidal waves, I'm assuming, would come and water the surface of the ground, with the cycle of the moon. And with the little dance that the earth and the moon does. But there was a water canopy above the earth, and it kept out ultraviolet rays, and it was a hyperbaric chamber. Things grew fast and healthy and large, and that was destroyed, and that came down in the form of rain. So the waters came very quickly. So you had mudslides. Things were buried quickly. There's fossils that scientists cannot explain. There is fossils of fish in the process of consuming and eating another fish. Its mouth is open, the other fish is going into the mouth of the larger fish, and that's how they were fossilized. That fossil didn't take billions and billions of years to form. That's an impossibility. That denotes a quick burial. A quick, massive, heavy burial. That is a mudslide as a result of the waters from below and the waters from above coming together, creating these massive mudslides and burying everything quickly. So that's one reason that we can be assured that the Noahic flood was a reality and not a locality, because you know what? They're finding fossils of coconuts in Arctic regions. Tropical fruits and tropical animals in Arctic regions. So that would denote that, it was a worldwide flood, and the earth was very different than it was today climate-wise. So that is one way that God rearranged the face of the earth. The second way he rearranged the face of the earth, and sometimes people use this to try to criticize the Bible, to say that it is not true, that it's an invention of man, is that in Genesis chapter 2 it mentions 4 riverheads. Well, there's several of these riverheads that we can no longer find. Oh, well, I guess they just didn't exist in the first place. The writer of Genesis just made it up. No! When you rearrange the face of the earth, you're going to cover some things up. There's going to be mountain ranges that are created. There's going to be valleys that are created. There's going to be, the land's going to look totally different. You take pictures of Mount St. Helens before it blew its top in '82, and you take pictures of it now. The map, the face of that area is totally different. If you were alive pre-eruption of Mount St. Helens, and that's what you visited and that's what you knew, and you went back today, you wouldn't recognize the landscape. It would be totally different. Same thing happened with the earth. It's what created the Grand Canyon. So as a result, a couple of these riverheads, of the 4 riverheads that are mentioned in Genesis chapter 2, went underground and were covered up or were obliterated. But with modern satellite and modern technology, they have actually been able to find these rivers, these ancient rivers, and therefore, again, proving the Bible to be true. It is a document that we can trust and depend on. It is the Word of God. There wasn't a whole bunch of people who wrote Genesis. Jesus Christ himself in the New Testament said, Moses wrote this. And if you don't believe Moses, then you're not going to believe me. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Go out there and have a great day. Shalom and God bless.